Khabib Nurmagomedov vs. Edson Barboza, the Battle of Styles. The Fighter's Journey, Khabib Nurmagomedov. Khabib Nurmagomedov, a name synonymous with dominance in mixed martial arts, had been on a meteoric rise through the UFC. The Russian lightweight champion had a record like no other, undefeated, never tasting defeat in his career. For Khabib, his journey wasn't just about fighting. It was about tradition. It was about discipline. It was about respect. Born in the rugged mountains of Dagestan, Khabib was raised in a family of warriors. His father, Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov, was a seasoned coach and a combat sambo specialist who instilled in his son a unique blend of wrestling, judo, and sambo techniques tailored for both dominance and control. From an early age, Khabib was taught that victory was not simply about knocking your opponent out. It was about breaking them down physically, mentally, and emotionally, making them tap out to a higher level of fighting intelligence. But perhaps Khabib's greatest weapon wasn't just his technique, it was his mental fortitude. In a sport where fighters go through not only physical pain, but emotional and psychological trials, Khabib had the ability to remain stoic and focused in the face of adversity. His undefeated record was a testament to that fact. By the time Khabib stepped into the octagon for UFC 219, he had already built a reputation as a powerhouse. His previous fights demonstrated his control, tenacity, and unrelenting pressure. His style was unique, heavy on the grappling, suffocating with his wrestling, and relentless on the ground. For Khabib, it wasn't just about winning, it was about dominating. He was a wrecking machine, and his ultimate goal in the UFC was clear: to conquer all challengers and make them understand the true meaning of combat. Edson Barboza, the Brazilian striker. Now, let's talk about the other man in the octagon, Edson Barboza, a fighter with lightning-fast kicks and a striking game that could put anyone to sleep with a single shot. Barboza, hailing from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, had a background steeped in Muay Thai and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. His striking was a thing of beauty, a blend of technical precision, explosiveness, and power. He was known for his ability to launch brutal spinning kicks and head kicks, often ending fights in a flash of brilliance. By the time Barboza stepped into the octagon against Khabib, he was already a UFC veteran. His wins over the likes of Benson Henderson and Gilbert Melendez cemented his place as one of the most dangerous strikers in the lightweight division. However, despite his success, Barboza had come up short in his efforts against the very best. He had lost to some of the top contenders in the division, including Tony Ferguson and Khabib's training partner, Justin Gaethje. Yet, Barboza remained a threat because of his unparalleled striking game. Edson's confidence came from his ability to dismantle opponents with his striking precision. He was a technician who could end a fight in a blink of an eye. But facing Khabib Nurmagomedov would present an entirely different challenge. Barboza knew that Khabib's wrestling was his kryptonite. He could not afford to let Khabib take the fight to the ground, as his submission game and control were simply too dangerous. The build-up, strength vs. speed. The clash between Khabib and Barboza was one of contrasting styles, wrestling vs. striking. Khabib's strategy had always been clear: close the distance, avoid striking exchanges, and take the fight to the ground where he could control, smother, and dominate. Barboza, on the other hand, had one goal: to keep the fight standing. If he could outstrike Khabib, he could earn his chance at the title. His kicks, especially his spinning back kick and devastating leg kicks, were his keys to victory. In the lead-up to the fight, analysts debated how the fight would unfold. Would Khabib be able to close the distance without taking damage from Barboza's lightning-fast kicks? Or would Barboza manage to keep Khabib at bay, forcing him into a striking war? The fans were on edge, eager to see which fighter's style would prevail. The fight begins. Round 1. The arena at T-Mobile Arena was electric, packed with fans, chanting and cheering. As the two fighters entered the octagon, the contrast in their demeanor was stark. Khabib was focused, almost stoic. His eyes were locked onto Barboza, exuding an air of confidence that came with an undefeated record. Barboza, on the other hand, was bouncing on his feet, a fighter ready to unleash his striking fury. The atmosphere was charged with anticipation. The bell rang, and immediately Khabib surged forward, closing the distance between them. Barboza, known for his elusive movement, danced around the octagon, throwing jabs and kicks to try and create space. But Khabib was relentless, his pressure unyielding. Barboza attempted to maintain his distance with a series of spinning kicks and leg kicks, aiming to break Khabib's rhythm. Yet, Khabib's style was not one to be easily disrupted. Every time Barboza threw a strike, Khabib moved forward, using his timing and distance control to get closer and closer. He wasn't looking to engage in a striking exchange. No, Khabib's mission was to wear down Barboza, to get him to the ground where he could unleash his ground and pound game. Khabib shot for a takedown in the first few minutes of the fight. Barboza sprawled, and for a moment, it looked like he might be able to fend off the takedown. But Khabib wasn't finished. He didn't give Barboza a second to breathe. The pressure continued, and soon Khabib got the takedown, landing in top position. From there, the fight turned into a grind. Khabib moved from position to position, taking Barboza's back, landing ground and pound, and suffocating him with control. Round 2, the grappler's domain. The second round saw more of the same. Barboza's striking, while beautiful, was simply ineffective against Khabib's relentless wrestling. Barboza tried to fight back, throwing wild strikes, but Khabib's clinch game was too strong. Each time Barboza tried to circle out, Khabib closed the distance with precision and control. It became clear that Barboza's striking was being nullified by Khabib's grappling. Barboza had no space to breathe, and even when he did land a clean shot, it did little to slow Khabib down. Khabib was slowly wearing down Barboza with his control, dominating him in the clinch and on the ground. By the end of the second round, it was clear who was in control of the fight. Khabib was a mauler, his suffocating style, leaving no room for Barboza to breathe.